Essential camera settings every beginner photographer should know. Hey there, photographers! Are all those camera settings making your head spin? ISO, aperture, shutter speed? What do they even mean? Don't worry. In this video, I'm breaking it all down so you can take control of your camera and start snapping like a pro. Let's dive in. Section 1. What are camera settings? First, let's talk about what camera settings actually do. Think of your camera as your creative tool and the settings as the dials that control how it captures light. Together, they form what's called the exposure triangle. Mastering these will help you get brighter, sharper, and more professional-looking photos. Section 2. ISO. Let's start with ISO. ISO controls how sensitive your camera is to light. A low ISO, like 100, is perfect for bright, sunny days. Your photos will be super crisp and clean, but in low light, like indoors or at night, you might need to bump up the ISO to something like 1600 or 3200. Just keep in mind, higher ISO can add some grain or noise to your pictures, so use it wisely. Section 3. Aperture. Next up is aperture. This one's all about that dreamy background blur. Aperture refers to how wide the lens opens to let in light, and it's measured in f-stops. A small number like f2.8 gives you that gorgeous, creamy blur in the background. Great for portraits. A larger number like f/16 keeps everything in focus, making it ideal for landscapes. It's a game changer for controlling depth of field. Section 4. Shutter speed. Now let's talk shutter speed. This controls how long your camera's sensor is exposed to light. A fast shutter speed, like 1/1000th of a second, freezes motion. Think sports or action shots. But if you slow it down, like to 1/4 of a second, you can capture movement and create artistic motion blur. It's amazing for light trails or waterfalls. Section 5. The exposure triangle. Okay, so how do these settings work together? It's called the exposure triangle, and it's all about balance. Let's say you're shooting in low light. You could raise the ISO, use a wider aperture, or slow down the shutter speed, or maybe a mix of all three. Adjusting one setting often means tweaking the others to get the perfect shot. Don't be afraid to experiment. And that's it! ISO, aperture, shutter speed, the dream team of photography. Now it's your turn to grab your camera, head outside, and start experimenting. I promise, the more you practice, the more these settings will feel second nature. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you don't miss any tips from Photographer's Insight. See you next time, and happy shooting. Let me know if you'd like this tailored further.